Hello again, my name is Arlindo Machado from Easy Way School of Real Estate. We are doing this series of videos to help you guys to pass the state exam. Today we're going to talk about investment. Now I tell my students, I ask them, so who would you rather working with? Buyers, sellers, or investors? You know, the opinion divided. But the majority says investors. Why investors? Because investors in general has more money and they will always come back for more. Now, we really need to understand how to work with investors to provide a good service so they will come back to us. That's the reason why we're learning these things. It's not just because you need to know to pass your exam. You need this knowledge to perform a great service when you have your license. Now, let's give an example. What if an investor comes to you and say, look, I have $1 million and I want to invest and I want to take 7% return of my investment every year. Now, if you don't know how to do this, how you don't know how to work with these things, how are you going to help these investors to find the right investment that will be at $1 million and will give them a return of investment close to 7%? So that's the reason why. I'm always trying to explain the reason behind the exercise so you guys have like a better way to like it what we're doing and to learn faster. Now, let's give an example here. In general, if an investor is looking to invest $1 million and get a 7% return on investment, one of the best investment that we can offer is a multifamily. Like a small building with 5, 6, 7, 8 units that will be around $1 million, and we need to do the calculation to find if that particular building will give a return of investment of 7%. So let's give the information here, so we will go step by step. All right, let's assume that we have this building with 8 units. Okay? Now every unit is rented for $1,100 a month. Now this will be my income. My income is from the rent that I collect every month from my tenants. Now, there's another thing that we need to calculate. What is it? Let's say you have a property for 1 year. Sometimes it might happen that some tenants will move out and you will take some time until you find a new tenant to come in. So there's something that's called vacancy. And in general, in our industry, we use 5% from the total income as vacancy. So we're going to put that information here. Vacancy at 5%. Now, we also have in those type of properties a other type of income. Example, laundry, parking space, maybe they rent a billboard because it's in a good location. So whatever it is, there will be other source of income. Then we call it other income. Let's say that this other income per year will give them like $5,000, which is from laundry example. Okay? Now, we start talking about the expenses because we need to pay property taxes, we need to pay insurance, we have other type of expenses that are variable like electricity, landscaping. So we need to list of all the expenses now because you're looking for the net income. Because the gross income doesn't give us much of idea if we do not deduct the expenses from it to know what will be the net income. So let's start here. Let's say property taxes. let's say it's about $18,000. And insurance, let's say the insurance is about $6,000. And we also have variables, like I was mentioning before. That would be electricity, landscaping. Let's say that all the variables is about $5,000. And there's one more thing that we included here, which is called reserves. Why do we have a reserves? Let's give an example. You call an inspector to look into your roof. And the inspector says, look, your roof is good for another 5 years. In 5 years from now, you need to replace it, and it's going to cost you $25,000. Now, if I start putting aside as reserves $5,000, in 5 years from now, I will have the $25,000 to spend on the roof, instead of don't have any reserves, and in 5 years from now, I'm going to have to find the $25,000 to do the repairs. So that's what the reserves are. Reserves is money that we put it aside for future expenses. So let's put it here, $5,000. Now we list everything that is possible that can have as an income or as an expense in one investment property. Now we're going to put all this number together to find the net and the cap rate. Cap rate has to be, remember that, the cap rate has to be close to 7%, which is what your investor is looking for. So let's start with the first one. Everything here, it has a name. So it's not complicated, it's just a name that they put it. Let's say, my total income, we called PGI. And PGI is my potential gross income, meaning everything that I can make it. My potential gross income always comes from my rent. So this is what I have to do. First thing, I need to get 1,100 multiplied by 8, which is 8 units. Then I will have 8,800 and multiplied by 12. You cannot forget to do this, because when we calculate the net operating income, it's based on annual income. So that's why we need to multiply that by 12. So we get 8,800 times 12. It's going to give me 105,600. 105,600. So that is my potential gross income. And I put here 105,600. Now it comes from my vacancy. Remember, it's always 5% from my total income. So what is 5% of 105,600? I'm going to put here vacancy and the amount of 5,280. This is going to be subtracted. Now we include the other income. My other income is $5,000, then I'm going to put here. Other income is $5,000. Now I'm going to subtract the vacancy, add the other income to get to my EGI, which is effective gross income. That's my effective gross income. That's exactly will be my gross income after I take the vacancy and after I include other income. So we do the math here. 105,600 minus 5,280 plus 5,000. That is 105,320. Now that I have my effective gross income, it's time for me to start deducting all my expenses. So I'm going to start here. Now that we know that our operating expenses is $34,000, I will subtract this from my effective gross income. When I get this, subtract from this, I will get my net operating income that we call NOI. So we got the calculator again, and you're going to put 105, 320 minus $34,000. That's going to give me a net operating income of $71,320. Now let's assume that this property is for sale for $980,000. Now, how am I going to find the cap rate? What is the cap rate? It's the percentage of this. Remember that we have $71,000 income. But your investor came to you and he didn't tell you that he wants to net $71,000. He told you that he wants to net 7%. So this $71,000 has to be close to 7% from his investment. Now, if he's going to invest $980, how can I find what is the percentage of this compared to the investment? It's very simple. There's a formula, that's one thing you need to memorize, and the formula is this. It's I over RV. Now, what is I? I is my income. R is the rate. And V is the value. Okay? So, you are going to make this calculation, you always going to have two numbers. And if you use the formula, you're going to find the third number. So in this case here, what do I have? I have the income and I have the value. So if the income is over value, so I will divide the income by value. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it 71,320 and I will divide that by $980,000 and I will find the percentage, which is the rate or cap rate. So 71,320 divided by 980, it gives me 0.072. Now remember, this is a decimal. I need to convert it to a percentage. So I move 2 spaces to the right and I place the decimal point here. So then this is equal 7.2%. Now remember, your investor came to you and said, I want to invest $1 million and I want to close to 7% return of investment. Now, you presented to him with a property that is 980 and will give him 7.2% return of investment. That is exactly what your investor is looking for. Now, we turn all of this into the question. So you did all of this to learn how to do in real life. Now, once you know how to do in real life, it becomes easier to do for your test. Because once you plug in all the numbers, and remember this, all these numbers will be on your question. You just have to get those numbers and plug them on their place and find the numbers. Once you find the numbers, then you're going to go to the answer. If they give you the rate and they ask you for the value, then you divide it by the rate and then you're going to get the value. Just apply the formula. Okay? Watch the video over and over again. If you have any questions, we're always here to help you out. If you like this video, please don't forget to like it and subscribe it so you can get more videos and keep yourself updated and prepare for the state exam. Thank you for watching.